roll, please.
Okay. No looking, no peeking. It is. Ooh, Leslie.
I'm not paying it. What's that? I'm not paying the bill. That's fucking crazy. This is too much money. I'm not paying it. I mean, maybe if I would have gotten a bite of everyone's meal or something. No, I just don't want to do it.
Hey everyone, welcome back to more Flesh and Bad, and today we're going to be playing with Settle the Bill. So this is a new card that is going to be legal in Omens, but we're going to be playing with it a little bit early, and I want to kind of do a video where we stress test this card. So the way we're going to do this is we're basically going to put this card in main deck. Now I think there's a lot of merits to this card, maybe at more as like a sideboard piece or like a matchup dependent piece, but we're going to like force this card in the main deck just to see how good it is. And we're also going to run like 3 copies of it, which I think is also like maybe a little bit prohibitive. We'll talk about that in a second. But I want to just stress test this card in particular in the main deck to just kind of see how it performs. Now, there are a lot of pros and cons to this card, I will say. So the pros of this card is that it blocks 3. You can load arrows from hand without using gold. It destroys arsenals, which is obviously really good. And it also loads face up, which is interesting for like New Horizons purposes. Now, again, we're not going to be running it like the New Horizon shell, which maybe this makes it a little bit better. But I think that there are a lot of interesting applications to this card. Now, the cons are also pretty severe. So it costs 1, which means that it doesn't really work on like your standard 4-card Marlynn hand. So like if you have like 2 blues, Harpoon, and then Settle the Bill, you're going to be like not activating Hammerhead, which is like the whole reason to play the deck, right? So you have to like keep like 5-card hands to make this card work, or like have Tunic up basically. And stressing your Tunic or gold for resources is also like, it makes this card very, very rough, right? And it can also not be used if you already have a card in Arsenal. So like if you Arsenal an arrow and then you draw into Settle the Bill, then you're not actually going to be getting the value out of them, right? So it's like bad when you're in like very specific situations. It's also really bad with like Codex in particular. So like if you draw this card with Codex, you can't really use it on the Codex arrow, right? Because you're going to be getting that arrow back from graveyard, which so there's never like a window or anything to like do that, right? And the bad part about this when you compare it to like a card like Take Game can load basically anything, costs 0, but it blocks 2, which is like a little bit worse. And when you like load with Take Game, you can load any card, right? So it could be a Codex, it could be a Harpoon, it could be like like another buff for like 3 purposes. Like a lot of flexibility to Take Game that this card does not have. This card can only load an arrow, and only if it's like your arsenal is basically empty. So this makes this card very, very prohibitive. And I think that this card also has like another downside where it's like bad in multiple. So if you draw like 2 Settle the Bills in the same hand, which I hopefully will be able to showcase at a later point, then it's also really bad. So like this card, I think, has a lot more cons going for it than the pros. Hopefully I'll be able to try to highlight this in the video, but hopefully I'm going to be able to showcase why I think this card is like maybe sideboard, not main deck, if that makes sense. So we're going to try to stress test this again. Again, we're going to test it in the main board, which I think is like maybe not correct. But we're just going to try to get to play with this card as much as possible. And it's kind of the goal. And to kind of support this card, I've also included like 2 loan sharks for this video. So like hopefully we can like generate some gold with the loan sharks, maybe make a Gulfin Harpoon, and then just like Settle the Bill on the Gulfins. That's why we also kind of move the shallow water shark harpoons to Arsenal to the sideboard, which I think is like, I don't know if that's correct or not. But anyways, we're going to be stress testing this kind of configuration and kind of just see a little bit kind of how Settle the Bill performs when you're trying to kind of like build around it a little bit more. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and get right into the games, kind of just see how it goes. And I'm going to try to keep a running tally of like times that Settle the Bill is good versus bad. So hopefully you can kind of get an impression of the card. But yeah, with that, let's go ahead and get into the games. All right, we got an Aurora. In between first and second, I don't really know what to expect out of Aurora. Let's maybe try going second, see how it feels. So we're gonna bring in the Honing Hood, and then I'm debating on bringing a B. Probably let's try Northern Boots actually. Bring in our Quiver as well. I think we're gonna just try to run the main 60 just so we can kind of stress test, Settle the Bill, and kind of see how that works for. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get into the game. All right, so pretty good opener. We got the King Kraken. I actually don't know how good Kraken is into Aurora. Like, it actually might be better, like, to run Battering Bolt or something. I guess it's still, like, a little bit too early to tell. Okay, starting off on Mercurial Sky. So this is, like, the kind of lightning mauve skies. Okay, pretty cool. Sure. see how much damage they're actually able to kind of push here because I'm curious. So if this says go again, he gets +1 with stacks here, deal 1 arcane damage to them. So we can go ahead and pay that. And I think we're just going to go ahead and. So this is. First time this deals damage to hero may destroy lightning flow you control. If you do, deal 3 damage to him. They don't have any lightning flows, which is good. I think in this case, we're going ahead and just AB a little bit here. Might end up getting like hit by the Scorpio, but I think that's kind of fine. Kind of depends, I guess, mostly like what their next thing they're going to do is. Tough Out's also a spicy one. Okay, just the Scorpio. So I think we're going to go ahead and just take the 1 damage here and then AB at the 1. I think that seems smart, and then we'll go ahead and just start with a King Kraken in Arsenal, which is pretty good. So, not a bad start to the game, assuming that this is all they have. Still not sure like how good King Kraken is actually into them. Like this might actually just be a batter shark matchup. But we'll see. They have played at least 1 non-attack in the Mercurial Sky, so maybe they do have like more thing. We do have a 3 oak here, which is pretty good. I'm actually kind of considering just like arsenaling the 3 oak. We could have gotten like an extra like +3 damage by sending the Murderous Rabble. I think I want to like try to line this 3 oak up with like a really big turn. And then what is the over or under that they're actually going to be able to block out my hook? I guess since we don't know like what exactly they're playing, let's go ahead and start by just sending the King Kraken and see what happens. Because I think there are some, like, historically Aurora has sometimes run D-React, so I don't want to just, like, blow my hook up right away without a little bit more info. Like, at minimum, they're probably running, like, the Static Shelter D-React or something. Maybe. I don't actually know if that's, like, an Aurora card, though. Okay, giving us the Tempestuous Kiss here. I think that's probably a good sign for us. Let's take a peek at the hand. So we can actually take either Arc Lightning or the Mercurial Skies. I guess it doesn't really matter between the two. It's kind of curious that they actually. I guess maybe they just like couldn't use the Tempestuous Kiss, and maybe that's why. I guess that makes sense, right? Because we're taking like if they block with one of these, then we're taking one. Let's go ahead and take, I guess, the Arc Lightning here. I don't imagine there's like a 1 cost or anything they can play. Like they can't grasp us, right, with the amount of resources. So I think this is fine, but we're gonna have to end up blocking a bit this turn. And maybe it's for the best that we end up blocking here because we need to draw 2 Settle the Bills. So notably with Settle the Bill, really, really awkward if you have 3 oak in Arsenal, and it's also really awkward in multiples. So I guess we're kind of showcasing that here. But I guess like the downside of like blocking 6 is like kind of whatever. It's not incredibly exciting, but it gets the job done, I suppose. Kind of thinking I'm maybe just going to play out the Tip the Barkeep just so we can get our Red Lure Harpoon online. But yeah, I guess that kind of shows like a little bit of the awkwardness of the bill. It's like, okay, well, we had the block there, so it was good, but like we would really have liked to maybe try to hold, like, if one of these was like a take game, we would have probably liked to hold the take game instead. Go ahead and not give our opponent a gold, and then I think we're just going to go for the blind 3 oak here. Obviously, there is a world where we get punished, but I think that you kind of do just have to go for it there. And I think since we have seen that they're not really like D-React oriented, I guess they could still hit us with the D-React here, or like give us all the fridge to break hook. Let's go ahead and just send a normal loop in here. It looks like they're a little bit more blue line, so this could actually be pretty relevant, it seems. Also, a cat has just arrived. Just kind of jumped up and went up. So say hi to the YouTube, Philip. I'm sure you're very excited to be on camera. Okay, so what has our opponent got going on? Okay, seems like they're maybe just going to take it here. And no blues in hand, which is kind of to be expected. Although that being said, like the Tempestuous Kiss, I think is like a lot worse on this hand. You can still play it here, which is definitely not the worst thing in the world, but not really doing them a ton of favors, it feels like. Okay, we drew the third Settle the Bill, so maybe this one can actually be a little bit better. Ooh, Eclectic Magnetism. Okay, so they have Mercurial, which they can play out as an instant, and then they can like lightning press this as well. Oh, that's kind of cool. I think for now, so we have a couple options that we can do on this next hand. We could try to go for like the super huge King Shark Harpoon, which is like kind of the greed line. Or alternatively, we can just go for like a normal Settle the Bill Dolphin Harpoon line, which I think is probably like the safest line, and then just try to set this as an arsenal. All right, so now they have the Mercurial, which doesn't trigger right away apparently, so they have to play like the Lightning form here, maybe pitching Tempestuous, and they have press. So I don't know if there's really a way to avoid this damage, which is fine. Kind of curious if they want to sit on the Lightning Press here, if they want to just kind of play it out and get the value. I think let's go ahead and offer them the ability to just like save the Lightning Press. Like no real reason to block here. So we're taking 8, which is a little bit scary, but overall, we're still kind of in a fine spot. Kind of tempted to go ahead and use the gold baited hook just to stave off like 2 damage. I don't actually know like what other on hits I necessarily have to be worried about, but we do know that their arsenal is like pretty high value, so the settle the bill should end up being pretty good. So there is like a world, since we have Tunic up, that we could go crack gold, draw blue, settle the bill on a King Shark, and that's like the like super high roll play. But since we're running like a lot less blues in the deck, I'd rather just take the safe line of just sending the Goldfin here, since we know that their arsenal is like pretty high value. So this is, I think, like a pretty strong line, and I'm debating on the hook here. We haven't seen a single D-React out of them yet, so I think the odds are pretty low. That being said, like they do kind of want to block this already. We'll find an opportunity to hook here, but we already have like a pretty decent arsenal, so I'm not like struggling for gold necessarily right now. I think there's definitely like an argument though for the Goldfin. Like they currently only have 8 armor on board, so it could have been correct there to send in just like a hook. But again, they're playing like a little bit more mid-rangey, so I'm still like a little bit hesitant to kind of just throw it away. Oh, another important thing to note, I guess, about New Aurora is that they are running some number of like instant cards that they can block with. I think like some of the instance cards I think block some amount, if I'm remembering correctly. But anyways, it looks like they were running Geary, so I guess we did suss that out. So that's good. They're still sitting on the press, which is like a little bit annoying, but at least we know about it, so we don't have to like commit anything. Okay, dashing flash foot. So the first time this deals damage to a hero, create embodiment. I think I'm kind of fine. So we could actually just use Tunic plus this and kind of keep the value going that way. I kind of actually like that. Let's go ahead and Quiver. I guess we actually didn't have to block this Rune Chant. We could have kept Tunic alive. Maybe that was better. We'll go ahead and AB1. Actually, hold on. This is... Let's take the Rune Chant damage here. K0, and then we'll Quiver this and block 3, I think is the play. For some reason, I thought I was like also having to block the Rune Chant, which I think is not correct. We'll pay 0 here. This is coming in for 4, I forgot as well. But I guess like them getting an embodiment's not really the end of the world here. Maybe this is actually like what we want to save the hook for instead of like Scorpio, because Scorpio is basically just like 2 damage, right? Which makes sense. Let's go ahead and just give them, I think, a card here. We know they also are sitting on the press, so they can like still always get the embodiment here. Yeah, this card's been pretty impressive. The dashing flash foot, just like very good curve wise. Yeah, go ahead and take a couple damage here. Get us in a nice King Shark here, and then get our gold generation flowing a bit. So overall, feeling pretty good. They also don't really have any embodiments out. Maybe this is just like a low embodiment, or not embodiment. The new lightning flow tokens rather. So maybe they're doing like a little bit more of like a kind of like stock standard Aurora. Maybe the lightning flow generation is like pretty sparse. Kind of makes sense, I think. I guess it doesn't make as much sense with like the Mercurial skies though, because these do require you to like sacrifice a lightning flow to like get the value out of it. All right, Sigil Voltaire. So when Sinners leaves the arena, deal arcane, so that's fine for us. Go ahead and take a little bit of damage here. All right. In for 10, let's take a peek at their hand. Generally, if they don't have an attack in hand, their lightning press in arsenal is going to be very sad. So I'm going to try to prioritize if they have any 1 cost or 0 cost, trying to take those. I think the best one here is probably... Oh, so this is the new, was the Lightning Runeblade block card that they can also try to get us with if we are not careful with their hook. So let's go ahead and actually just take this Flowing Storm Strike here, I think is the best line. Just kind of limit the lightning flow generation if we can. But yeah, we got a pretty good setup here. Now we just need to kind of close out the game from here. Go ahead and take damage. We do also have a King Shark lined up, which is going to be pretty good as well. I wonder if they maybe just want to use the press just to like kind of get it out of arsenal, which I think is like kind of reasonable. Following up with the Scorpio as well, so we'll go ahead and take another 2 damage here, which I think is fine. They're still definitely like putting on a decent amount of pressure into us, which is pretty impressive. Like even without like the full kind of set spoiled. All right, I think I'm going to crack a little bit of gold just to get a bit greedier here. All right, gold to tip is an excellent draw. So I think we're actually... It's been a while since I've actually cast a Loan Shark, but it's going to probably end up being pretty good here just because we're kind of at the point in the game where we can kind of just crack a million gold and try to kill them that way. But this should be coming in for 13 most of the time here. We'll go ahead and get our King Shark. I do know that they still have that instant in arsenal that I think they can play out to like king us for 1. Should be fine. And we can pull Tunic here, hold on to the King Shark, and then also throw the hook on this. So the reason the Loan Sharks, by the way, I don't know if I touched on this, but the reason the Loan Sharks are in the deck is mostly just to like keep up the gold, because like the Settle the Bills are like a lot gold hungrier because you typically want to, I think, use these with Goldfin Harpoons. So having a bit of extra like free onboard gold generation, I think, is like kind of required if you want to play this card. But again, not this card I don't think was particularly impressive this game. Like basically the ones we drew in multiples were like really, really bad because we already had like an arrow in arsenal or something like that. And then the third one, like we basically just sent like a shallow water shark harpoon, which was like kind of whatever, right? So I think the card is like playable, but I don't know how insane it is necessarily. Okay, looks like they have another 2 instants here. Sure. Go ahead and just take a little bit more damage. Okay, and it looks like they have a Burn Up Shock as the last card. Okay, that should be deal with the bull. Again, we basically kind of brick their entire next turn, which is really good, and then we can kind of draw through most of our deck here. Not too bad. Oh, so I think for this Arcanic approach, they actually destroyed the Sigil of Voltaris, which like keeps it around another turn, which is pretty cool. And we don't have a Shallow Water Shark Harpoon, which is like a little annoying here. We could actually do some funky stuff with the Gold Kiss Rum. So how do we actually use this rum? Let's actually draw a couple cards and kind of just see what there is to see here. About like 2 or 3 more cards and just kind of see if we get anything juicy here. Okay, Tip the Barkeep is interesting. So we could Codex of Frailty, get King Shark Harpoon. And what are we doing after that, I guess, is the big question. I feel like maybe the play is to just like send 12 here. Like we don't have the Shallow Waters in the deck right now, so like that is definitely like a bit awkward with this hand. I kind of want to hold on to this other codex just so we're chaining the codexes back to back. Draw 1 more card just to have like 1 floating. I think I don't also hate that. Okay, now this becomes a little bit interesting because we have the Red Lore Harpoon now. So we can make a Gulpin here, discard it, and then like play the rum, like use the rum. Oh no, we can't use the rum now. Okay, wait, I might have mildly punted, but this is still probably fine. Okay, I think there was a play there that maybe involved using the Gold Kiss rum, but I think I wasn't supposed to make like Goldfin. Maybe. That was a weird turn. Okay. I think the backup here, I guess we're still just sending King Shark for 12, which is like not bad, but I think there was like maybe a better line there. We're still floating 1 for this reproach though, which I think is good for us. So by doing this, we're still kind of getting value, right? I think there was just maybe like a better line that gave us like some way to like maybe go a bit wider. Could have also been overthinking it a little. Like maybe there was like not a great spot to use the Red Lure. This card is still like very, very tricky to use, I think. I think once I get enough practice, I'll like start seeing the lines where you get it, but it feels like you can't, like it's very clunky with like codex, right? Like especially if you have like discard a card of codex and then figure out a way to like load the Red Lure and then send the Red Lure afterwards. Like the requirements of it when it's like not an arsenal are actually like pretty steep, or like when you don't have like the go again, right? All right, coming in for 9 over the top, which is good. So we should be like probably completely ruining this next hand for them. Let's go ahead and take, I think, the Tempestuous Kiss and then the Flowing Storm Strike, just so they don't have like a great outlet for their resources, I think. And then we can pay 1 for the Reproach and then just have a very excellent setup turn next turn. And let's arsenal the Cheating here, just in case we need to like pitch the Codex for whatever reason, which I doubt we'll probably need to do. Oh, the funny thing about Arcanic Reproach is they actually broke our own Frailty token to keep it around, which is something you have to be like a little bit careful about this card, but like this card is like kind of whatever. It's like a blue deal 3 damage that you can like play around. I actually really like the design of this card. It's like a blue 3 block that Aurora actively wants to play that's like not super oppressive, right? Let's go ahead and just take the Burn of Shock trigger here, and then I think our plan is to just go ahead and take the 1 here as well, and then block 4 with a card from hand. I think we're going to draw a couple cards next turn, so we should be able to string together some series of pretty good cards here. All right, so we'll get our 5th gold here as well, which should actually be maybe important depending on like what our draw sequence is. Yeah, stuffing out the Burn Up Shock I think is pretty important. Okay, let's start with the Cheating Scoundrel and then see where we go from here. All right, so Big Game Trophy Shot's not like a brick, but it is kind of like a reroll. Okay, Big Game Trophy Shot's not a brick, but it's also kind of like a reroll. Let's try to hopefully find a blue here would be ideal. Okay, that's a blue. I think we're gonna stop here and just try to send 13 because they are at 1. And I don't think they have a way to deal 9 damage to us on our turn. If they did, then I would probably be switching to this hero instead. Like, I think with, like, Nuacilio, they might have, like, a better way to do that. Or, like, Ziggy. Ziggy, I think their ceiling is, like, 4 or 5, maybe, or something like that. I'm not 100% sure on that. But, like, if Aurora is able to deal 9 damage on a turn, I'd be very impressed. Go ahead and send in 13 here. This should be lethal. Unless I'm missing something. Okay. Yep, seems like it was. So overall cool Aurora deck. Seems like they're kind of trying to go for like this very like mid-range kind of disruptive thing, which I think is like pretty cool. But yeah, I think let's do like a kind of look back on Settle the Bill. So Settle the Bill, the first 2 were like actively quite bad in the sense that we had to like block with them, which I think is like a common scenario that I think you're gonna find with this card. And the third one was like okay. It was basically like comparable to Shallow Water Shark Harpoon. So we haven't really seen the insane use case of Sellable yet. I'm going to go ahead and play a couple more games though, just to see if we can kind of capture that though. Notably, they cannot cast it. They're probably just pitching it to Titan Swiss, which I think makes sense. Okay, and here is another awkward example of Settle the Bill not being amazing, right? Because we have a hand that has Codex, which is the best card in our deck. We have a hand that has Settle the Bill in it, so like this anti-synergizes with the best card in our deck, which feels really weird. Again, I think that this card is like, the more I see it, like, okay. So you can evaluate cards based on like the numbers and like the stat line, right? But the biggest thing for me, I think, when I'm evaluating cards is like, how happy am I to see this card? And I think the answer most often, oh, that's actually kind of funny off the top. The answer most often with this card is I feel like I'm like sad to see it a lot of the time, which is like not maybe a great sign. All right, another case where the Settle Bill is bad, right? So the 3 times we've attempted to resolve this card, it's been bad. That's probably not a great sign, but that's okay. Not every card can be insane, I suppose. But yeah, the nice thing about these red lures is they should end up being pretty good in the late game. So this is the what is this? The 4th time we've seen this card, and it's been bad. Yeah. I don't know about this card. It seems like it's maybe like a sideboard card, but even the sideboard, it's like you're kind of taking a gamble of like whether or not this is actually going to end up being good or bad, you know what I mean? Right, Settle the Bill could actually end up being good here. The only issue is I kind of want to pitch it instead because we have a King Shark kind of ready to go here. So like maybe in second cycle is what I'm going to hesitantly say. All right, unfortunately they do two-faced us here, which is not the end of the world. Okay, they have the choice between Settle the Bill and King Shark, so maybe Settle the Bill will actually kind of shine here. Because we do have Tunic up, and we've kind of been waiting for that. Right, the last 2 Fiddler's Green out of the way is also, I think, pretty good for us. Again, we still do have to worry about that CNC in Arsenal, which I imagine they're probably trying to line up like a pummel play with. Back up to 33 we go, but hopefully they can't get too much higher than this. I guess they do have one more sigil, so they can go to like 36 effectively. All right, Settle the Bill. Still kind of bad here, right? Because it means we just have to like play Codex next turn. I don't know about this card. It's like fine, I guess. I don't know. It's like been actively flunky, I feel like, every time I've seen it though. Like it's never had like a amazing use case, I feel like. Actually, hold on, we should sequence this a little bit better. Let's actually do this first, I think. Maybe. Actually, I don't know what the correct way to sequence this is. Maybe we did actually want to put the AI sequence this wrong, actually. Maybe what I actually wanted to do, hold on. Sorry, I'm like thinking about this. What I think the correct sequence is actually to pull Tunic here and then try to load the Harpoon and then hope they leave. So we do this now, I think. We're trying to basically play around, leave them hanging as much as possible. I think this gives us like the best way to do it because we're like not committing. We shouldn't be like hammerheading first, right? Because we have like an extra pitch card here. All right, last Oasis out of the way is good. And we're doing a little bit better on deck size here, I think, for sure. And we do still need to figure out how to get one of their CNCs as like the juicy target I think I'm going to try to go for. I don't think we've seen like an Easter egg or anything, but I think we could also maybe even potentially resolve like a little Bigfoot or something. I think there are definitely a couple juicy hits, and if we could like actually get that CNC out of our arsenal, that would be huge for us. All right, so this is also our last codex as well. But I don't think there's any real way that they like managed to put together like a CNC pummel here, because the Settle the Bill is actually threatening their arsenal pretty heavily here. Okay, Fearless is fine. That's basically just like a 1 block. Pretty okay with that, I think. Or maybe this is just like a tech card like for like Valda or whatever. See that being the case. But we do break their CNC, which is great. So that means our red lure harpoons are now like very live, which is pretty sweet. Oh, set out the bill also kind of spicy. So let's go ahead and play this. So this is actually like a pretty good settle the bill, right? We get to load the red fin, do this and do this, and because they're not running like the leaving, the timing there actually works out a lot better. But this is actually like a pretty nasty on hit here, especially if they have kind of like run out of their kind of like block and prevention cards, which seems like they've basically done at this point. So I imagine they're gonna probably have a hard time blocking this fully, which means we're getting the CNC out of Arsenal, which is great, and then we're also potentially getting a card from hand. So I think we're in really good shape here. Like, okay, so this I think is like the first, I think, excellent settle the bill that I think we played. But we've had to like work a bit for it, and we also had to like have the correct hand where it like played pretty well. It's definitely like a lot more of a clunkier card to use than just take aim, right? Seems like that actually just killed them outright, which is pretty sick as well. All right, Aurora. Let's go. What did we do in Aurora? I think we want to go second in Aurora and then bring in the Nora. Is that what we did last time? All right, we're gonna keep playing the settle the bill. Hope it's good. I actually want to try battering bolts into New Aurora and see if that's maybe better than the Krakens. Although the Krakens like weren't bad necessarily though. Let's maybe try the battering bolts and just kind of see if they're better. And maybe we can even bring in our shallow water shark harpoons like over the loan sharks maybe. Let's try something like this, like something like a little bit strange. But I think like it's worth trying battering bolt into New Aurora because it could end up being pretty good. Browser logged me out again. Sorry, excuse me. Go ahead and change my settings real quick. Okay, starting off with the grasp here. Deal 1 damage to target hero, and then create a lightning flow token. Sure. That's largely fine with us. Okay, sure. Let's go ahead and pay the 1 here. I think I might end up just paying 1 with one of these cheating challenge rolls just so we like guarantee we're drawing the blue next turn. Okay, let's go ahead and load our shallow water. Notably, they do have Crown of Province, which is gonna make this like a little bit less good. But should probably still be fine. But definitely not a bad start for us. Unfortunately, we don't have a way to like flip this face up, which would be like the ideal case scenario here. Let's go ahead and just send a nice 15 here. I think I'm even going to throw the hook on this just because I think it's unlikely that they're going to hit us with double D react. If they do, though, this is going to be pretty bad, I would have to say. Like they give us the fridge and then also give us double D react or something like that. Single D react would not do it, right? Because they have to block. They can block 3 from hand, plus presumably 7 fridge. So they have to give us like they could block like 2 if they need to block have like an instant block in hand, and then also maybe have like a D react or something here. It has to be like a weird series of cards. I think this is probably safe. 15 feels pretty safe on the whole, I'd have to say. Sigil Suffering could prevent this here. This is like basically getting us 2 value. I think I'm going to go ahead and pop it, at least. Because we're at minimum getting 2 value there, right? We might not have, like, a better opportunity. All right, but starting on 2 gold is great. Getting the Crown of Province out of the way is great. Lots of good things going on for us here. Ideally, I do think you maybe want to try save Quiver for, like, Tempestuous Kiss is, I think, the big card. Ooh, Succumb, okay. Sure, Succumb into Flow State Embodiment. So this is not a Runeblade action card, right? So we do not have to worry about Succumb on this attack. So we will not worry about that. We will read the card correctly. But we do have to worry if they end up playing a Runeblade attack here. They're maybe also figuring that out as well. Okay. Lots of new cards to read. I don't blame our opponent here. But yeah, Succumb maybe is like a little less good when you're running a lot more like lightning cards here. Oh, they get to play Burn Up Shotgun Instant Speed. Okay, that's pretty spicy. Oh, sure. Okay, that's like not the end of the world though. We have like a really good turn lined up, and this is basically just vanilla adjacent damage. Not too bad for us here. I'm gonna go ahead and let them have the Scorpio as well, just because we're basically treating this as like 2 damage. We get to basically fire back our hand, which should basically ruin their day. If we draw a Settle the Bill here, it's actually maybe potentially good. Battery Bolt was not like a great draw there, but we have it for next turn, so it's maybe fine. They do still have like a bit of fridge, and we know they're running some number of D-reacts, so maybe the hook is like a little greedy here. I think King Shark on its own should be enough of a threat that we don't need to also slap the hook on it. It seems like they are maybe giving us like an instant card from hand, so I think that was probably prudent. Okay, yep. So they have like this new instant Aura card that they can block, which I think we saw in the first game as well. All right, but most of the armor is now out of the way, which is good. Okay, Tempestuous Kiss. So this is the one where they get to discard a card from hand, which is pretty good. We could block this, but it's kind of profitable to just like take it, I feel like. I feel like the like if we are just left with it, then we're just setting Battering Bolt on its own, which is kind of awkward. I'd rather just like get the Harpoon value or the battering value and then just like Arsenal Redfin or something. Like Redfin's pretty good against them. Yeah, the Tempestuous Kiss was pretty good there. Could maybe even consider giving them like a little bit extra there. Like maybe blocking there was actually like kind of fine. I like those cards the next game. Good. Could have actually double bottom, maybe just dig towards 3 oak a little bit faster. I'm hoping this battering bolt. I don't know how many like instances I actually end up running. Like maybe in this case it was actually better to run just like Kraken or whatever. But I kind of want to like test, right? It's like the most important thing. Like if we get like a lightning press here, I think that's like pretty big value. They are running a lot of instants. I guess the question is like how many instants like are able to block, and that's like the big thing here. See how annoying this battering bolt ends up being. Okay, so not annoying at all is the answer. Their entire hand. So they do have the Mercurial Skies, but they don't have a lightning flow token just yet. Okay, so like this hand is like kind of fine for us so far. All right, battering bolt apparently not amazing into a current Aurora build. It seems like. So this is the first time it deals damage to hero. When stacks hero, do 1 arcane damage to them. So we'll have go again, right? And then what is the last card in their hand? I forgot. It's like some random. Oh, it's like it's the 0 for 3, 0 go again, whatever thing. Okay. So let's maybe this is coming in for 4 base. So we could actually prevent the ponder token if we wanted to. Now that we do really want to go. I feel like holding the tunic is actually like kind of important. They don't have a lightning flow, so they can't really use that effectively. Yeah, let's go ahead and just sunken treasure, turn over like succumb or something. Get some gold online. They got their functional 0 for 4 here. Actually, hold on. We should actually probably pay for this, so that means that they can't Scorpio, because that's actually getting like 3 value. That's actually probably a little bit better. Just so they can't swing their weapon and get an additional chip into us. Right, hopefully this Redfin ends up being a little bit disruptive this game. I think we've actually kind of whiffed on a lot of our better disruption, it's felt like. We've also not really seen like a Codex or a 3 oak, which is always like the games where you don't see like Codex and 3 oak are generally a little bit less strong than the games where you do see them. All right, Path to Same Ends, Mercurial. Yeah, the Flowing Storm Strike as well. Maybe we just want to like leave them with the Mercurial, right? Really also don't really have the embodiment out, so I think like taking the Flowing is probably the best bet. In fact, the same ends is also like mildly annoying. But I think I kind of like just taking the lightning flow generation because it seems like they're pretty light on it overall, so that might be pretty impactful. All right, another battering bolts, which again, I'm kind of like regretting my decision to maybe run this card. Oh, they had another one. Okay, so that's kind of scary. They could send in. We have to like block 6 on this, which is like a little annoying. I think let's actually maybe just go ahead and take the turn to block here. We may just try to set up the big game trophy shot in Arsenal. Try to wait for one of our better cards in the deck, I'd have to say. Like, we want a 3-oak, we want a Codex, we want something that's just going to be able to get us a bit of value. And I think here they can also like pay for the 1 for this. So I guess is it better to pitch or is it better to block here? I think it's actually better to pitch. Or no, it's better to block, right? So we let them have the damage because it's going to get go again regardless. Give them 3 here, and then we could even just throw our hook on this to prevent the Scorpio. I think we're getting like a little bit lower. We might be able to get cash in our tunic at some point. So I feel like giving the hook here is probably not the worst thing in the world. Yeah, let's try to arsenal our best card and then hopefully draw some juice here. So again, settle the bill. Like that. Like if we want to resolve the Codex, right, which we definitely want to do, then this is only dealing 1 damage. That's actually not too bad for us. I think we actually let them hit with this. A double lightning press us, that's scary because we go to 1. Yeah, but I think we like kind of just have to do something here, right, though? I think we like let them have the flow, and if they want to ping us for 1, I think that's like probably fine. We could even block with the settle the bill, but I kind of want to maybe see if they do something scary after this. Okay, pumping a 6, so they get to make their first flow here. I think this card's pretty good. Just like a lightning 0 for 4, no go again. That also. Okay, they're gonna do it for 1. Okay. Maybe they want to like grasp into Scorpio or something. Alright, so we'll go ahead and take another 2 here and hopefully fire back with either a strong Codex turn or a strong settle the bill turn. Again, I'm still, I don't know, I feel like every time we've drawn settle the bill, it's been with Codex, which has been really awkward. And yeah, it's still like bad here, right? It's so unfortunate. Like, it just like, we want to resolve the best card in our deck, right? But because we have settled the bill, resolving the best card in our deck is now harder. Suppose here, oh, we did already Marlynn. We might have to actually discard this other Codex, which is unfortunate. But gotta do what you gotta do. Grab our King Shark, which is definitely probably a lot better to them than the battering bolt here. And we should be able to throw the hook on this as well. Come in for 14, which should be bordering on killing them, taking at least 2 cards out of hand, it looks like, or maybe I think they can get away with actually going to 1 here and maybe keeping like a 4-card hand. They want to give us like the entire fridge and then also creeper. Okay, which seems like the play they're going for here. King Shark is going to take what here? I think we leave them with the current funnel, right? Probably like the safest card. And they do have the Storm Shard, which they can use to lightning press us, which you do kind of have to play around here. So let's go ahead and take the dashing here, as it's like the card that enables them to go the widest. And then hopefully we can draw into goodies here. All right, 3-oak should be good. So we should be able to block 9 on this hand, worst case scenario. We just need to play around the Storm Shard and we should be fine. All right, so this is a current funnel from Arsenal, which means they have another current funnel in hand. Oh. So this is going to be weird, but I think what we're supposed to do is just take the 1 here. If they want to pump it, that's fine. Right, Grasp is a follow-up, sure. They have another current funnel here. And then they have the Storm Shard, which we want to actively try to prevent them from playing. So let's go ahead and pay one with the Tunic here. Save off a little bit of that damage. And then we're going to block 3 on this. So they can push 2 over. Storm Shard. Hold on. Let me read Storm Shard real quick. Storm Shard. Target lightning attack gets +3. So they could actually do that on the Scorpio, right? Target lightning attack. So this is a lightning attack, right? Oh, interesting. Okay. So we have to be a little bit careful. Wait, they could have done this on the Scorpio, right? Feels like it might have been a little bit better. Oh, I guess the Scorpio is coming for base 0. Okay. So I guess that's fair. So what do I do here? They maybe didn't want to press. They could press this instead, right? Right, so we're gonna give them Tunic here so that we go to. Yeah, I think this is like the better play from them at least. So we don't really need much to kill them. I think I'm actually just gonna give them the 3 here because like them having the Storm Shard in Arsenal shouldn't actually matter. Like we just want to like block out. We're not sending King Shark here, but we have 4 gold to crack, so we should be able to find something to play here. Let's go ahead and start with the Murderous Rabble though, to just kind of top card of our deck. Another 3 oak. It's kind of funny. Funny thing is, I guess the Murderous Rabble coming in for 1 versus 2 probably didn't matter much. Let's go and draw, I guess, our other 3 oak here. And then let's pop it. Okay, Elephant should probably be good. So they have some random way to like deal 5, which I don't think. Alright, hitting us with a good game, which I think is a sign. So settle the bill. Still wonky that like I think we drew with Codex again, didn't we? So it's like at tension with one of the best cards in our deck, which we always want to play. Like even as a sideboard card, I think this card is like pretty suspect, right? Because even if you're playing against like an aggro hero where you want to like disrupt their arsenal, like hit them with like a million on hits and stuff, right? Even when you're playing against that, it seems like it's got a lot of tension with the best cards in your deck, which is like kind of a bad spot to be. It's also like very resource intensive, so I don't know about how you feel about Settle the Bill. It feels like maybe there's something I'm missing with it, like maybe you run in like a New Horizons build or something like that, but like on the whole, it just seems like it does not really fit with like the current Marlynn play patterns that I think are maybe a little bit more consistent and reliable than Settle. All right, so anyways, that was the Settle the Bill video. I think that this card has merits. Like there's definitely like a world where this card is good, like where there are a lot of heroes that are trying to set up like a 5-card arsenal. You prevent them from doing that. You get to like snowball super hard. But I don't know if we're like actually ever going to get to that meta where it's like just going to be like 5-card hands like sending back and forth. Like it feels like all the decks right now are kind of doing like a very like mid-range thing. Even like the new heroes are kind of doing like kind of like a mix of like mid-range, playing stuff out of arsenal, stuff like that. Like it feels like there's no hero that like really like you're trying to target with this, if that makes sense. It kind of just feels like a worse shallow water shark harpoon because it does give you like a little bit of flexibility in going color, but it doesn't give you that resource pitch, which I think makes the shallow water harpoon a little bit better. But yeah, I think there's definitely maybe some merit to this card, just maybe not in the current build of Marlynn. I feel it's like it's just maybe like a card for like another ranger maybe in the future, or alternatively maybe like a decent Riptide card or something. But anyways, I think that there's still maybe some merit to playing this. Like, again, I'm not like saying that that card is like completely unplayable. It's fine. It just feels like kind of a worse take game at kind of like this point in time in current Marlynn builds. All right, so anyways, hope you all enjoyed. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. And a special thank you to all the folks who decided it would be a good idea to give us $2 on Patreon. We really appreciate the support, but it's obviously never required.